know Mountain Standard, right?
Should we give them a minute, or go ahead and get started?
Oh, I can go back off if you want.
Are you recording?
Yes, sir.
Go ahead and start. Call this meeting to order. Please join me for the pledge of allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, there's Isabel. She's getting on right now. Roll call for the record. Mayor Lindsay.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Crane is not here. Councillor Howe.
Here.
Councillor Weeks is not here. Councillor Curry. We have a quorum. You may proceed.
Okay, and asked for a motion to approve the agenda.
I make a motion to approve the agenda.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, we'll start with the discussion of the FY27 budget with potential increase of $241,000 for the finance department's budget. Mr. Rendell.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, Council, Manager Weir, and Clerk Strickland. The reason we're meeting is because we're going to be asking to include a $241,000 wedge into the FY27 budget for finance. It would come from the general fund. We're anticipating that we'll be in this year, we're going to end at approximately 3 to 3.3 million in available cash pool. So that's where this money would be coming from. And the purpose of this money is to take an ERP that we're struggling with and replace it with a system that's not only much better from the outset, but that it has the potential to long-term serve other purposes, because it's a hub and spoke type system where financial system sits at the middle and they've got all these modules that they can add to the outside that would cover things like planning and zoning, STRs, all of that can get rolled up into it. And the company that we're looking at has a bunch of other ideas too that could potentially turn into folding in existing, turning off old systems to turn on this new system, and that would result in more savings. So we actually have Isabel Zeros on the Teams chat with us here, and she's going to be speaking more to you guys about what exactly it is that you're going to be getting, so that you can kind of get an idea about what the system has, as well as what the savings looks like and when we'd be realizing those savings.
What does ERP mean?
Oh, I'm sorry. ERP is Enterprise Resource Planning System. It's basically it's a fancy name for the financial system, but it does a lot more than that. But for our purposes, from the outset, what we'd be looking at is a one-to-one replacement, where right now we use Tyler Encode plus ClearGov. And those two pieces we use in order to manage the financials in the background and also do the transparency piece for the village. And so for year one, that's what we'd be looking at, is this money would be the cost of the system plus the professional services in order to move it over. In the past, I guess 4 or 5 years ago, there was a system migration, and when that one was done, the professional services weren't done correctly, or if they even existed at all, and consequently there was data loss. So it's crucial that when these moves take place, that we work with professionals to make sure that it's a parallel type operation. So 1 year of Encode, 1 year of OpenGov, they're overlapping each other. The professional services is in between to handle that migration.
I mean, can I ask one more question real quick? I feel like this is at least the third change since I've been here, and I don't know, is it like we were with one system, we went with another system? I think we might have gone back to the old system.
Yes, sir, and that is what happened. Is there was Encode, then there was Cassell, then there was Encode, and
what's this one that we're looking at?
This one's OpenGov, and so this is a company that and Isabel will talk a little bit more about this to you, but basically this is the distinction between this one. From the finances team's perspective, it's just a vastly superior system that we don't plan on going too far into the weeds on this, because you guys don't do what we do. But you're more than welcome to answer those questions, and they have the technical expertise to fill you in on that. But the
Yes, Mayor and Council, just a little history. In 2015, I was hired as a finance director. I struggled through probably 2 years with Encode and got the village in a position where we could transition away. The primary reason is Encode has the worst customer support I have ever dealt with. And keep in mind, I spent almost 30 years in the accounting software business before I came here. Their customer support's just terrible, and in order to get decent customer support, even though it's supposed to be included in their agreement, you actually have to pay for consulting fees in order to get customer support. That's the bottom line. So that's the main reason we left Encode. The council agreed. We moved to a product called Cassell.
And what time frame was that?
That was in 2018, we moved to Cassell. I mean, I think the transition started in 17, I don't remember exactly, but it was 2018 when the transition was completed. By the way, in 2019, we actually implemented OpenGov, their original product that was the transparency, public transparency product. We actually implemented that in 2019. So we do have some history with this firm. But, so we moved to Cassell. Cassell did have some challenges with payroll and para, more specifically. And so in 2019, we quit using Cassell's payroll. We kept using everything else, worked great, good support, a system designed for small to mid-size municipalities. It's just that they were not a New Mexico company and they didn't do New Mexico para very well. So we hired an outside company to do all of our payroll. And then I left, and when I left, the new finance director came in and canceled Cassell and brought back Encode. And I will tell you the transition, I wasn't involved in the transition in 2021, but I can tell you it was terrible by the data we now have in our system. Our 2021 and 2022 data in Encode basically is unusable as a comparative data for year over year, because the data conversion was so poorly done. And I'm convinced that conversion had a lot to do with the fact that the administration before us didn't really know what they had. I mean, they say, or at least I've heard that they say that they did, but with the challenges this village had, and to have almost 22 million in cash available to fix problems and do things, the only logical excuse for that was that they just didn't know they had the cash. And I believe it, because their accounting system was so messed up in 21 and 22. So anyhow, that's where we are today. We're with Encode. I didn't dream of going through another transition personally. Even though Encode's support has turned out to be as bad or worse than it was back in 2016 and 17 when we got off of them in the first place. Their support's terrible.
So when did we go back to Encode?
21, he said.
In 21, well, we started in 21 and finished in 22 when they switched back to Encode. And they lost the majority of the historical data that was in Cassell. They didn't retain the data after they switched to Encode. So we, other than audit reports and paper, we don't have availability of historical data prior to 2021 today. And it's all because of the conversion. So this, I'm going to say this wasn't my idea. I wouldn't have taken it on. This was something that came, this desire to switch came organically from our staff. And when they asked before this meeting, I had each of our finance people send me an email. And an email I promised I wouldn't share with anybody else, but I can tell you this, everybody's in favor of this in the finance department, except for a couple of people that said they were neutral because either they were relatively new or they didn't work with the ERP system enough to make a judgment call. But the heavy hitters that really use our ERP system were all in favor of this switch. And that's after I told them, I said, listen, this is what you need to get ready for. When you do a ERP switch, it's like coming to work and getting kicked in the face every day for a year. If you're willing to do that, it's probably gonna be worth it.
So that just tells me how bad Encode is, because that's my point. Usually if you leave it up to staff or employees to
They don't want
support,
to.
they don't wanna change. I mean, it's a lot of work to change. Do you have any idea what the costs were switching from Encode to Cassell and then back to Encode? I mean,
I don't remember I don't know the cost to switch back. When we switched to Cassell, I wanna say implementation was around $120,000. And that was in 2017-18.
and this $241,000 number, is that a pretty firm number, or is that a best guess?
Mr. Mayor, that 241,000, that's based off of the latest quote that was provided to us, and that's both the price of the system itself and the professional services. And so it sounds like the professional services cost hasn't escalated since the time that they've done it.
Similar, it's a little bit higher, maybe 15 or 20% higher, but not.
And then year over year, what kind of increase are we looking at? I mean,
Mr. Mayor, they're actually prepared to go through all those numbers with you if you're ready for them.
do you have any other questions before we start? Chuck? Okay, well, I suppose we're ready.
Okay, Isabel, it's yours.
Yes.
And actually, did we give them permissions to share? We may have to.
She should have them.
Yeah.
Sure. You can email it to me. Yes.
Yep.
just have a question for our staff, but these are just the portions that, Encode's currently managing, these same utility billing, financial management, budgeting, and performance and payroll.
Yeah, so what we're implementing will be replacing Encode. Encode does have a couple of other modules that OpenGov has, and we've been paying for them since Encode was implemented and we don't utilize them. One of them is the capital budget and project management.
Sorry,
Did I misunderstand?
no, but this is OpenGov, right?
This is OpenGov.
Don't we have ClearGov?
ClearGov's another.
Yes,
Well, I'm
sir.
just trying to, so, go ahead, I just wanna be clear, yeah.
Yes, sir. Mr. Mayor, what ClearGov does is the transparency piece, so it's
Right.
basically just the website that, it shows the village's checkbook.
Right, you just been implementing.
Yes, sir, and OpenGov has that integrated into it, so we wouldn't just be replacing,
Encode,
Encode,
but also
we-
ClearGov.
yes, sir. And then, as Isabel mentioned, to a large extent, the Power BI work that we do.
Okay, and then one other quick question before we move on. Because we just recently required everyone to pay their utility billing, and when we're not sending out paper statements, that sort of thing, will there be new software that our constituents will have to, will we be able to seamlessly integrate that portion? In other words, will the public have any issues with us making a transition?
No, sir, it's a year-long transition, so we're gonna dovetail two systems, and they're gonna have the professional services layered in between. And so it's gonna be very similar, so maybe a URL changes, but, as far as,
They're not gonna have to re-register, or sign up for anything?
on that piece, I'm not sure.
I think that. So, Mr. Mayor, Council, their personal data will convert over, but legally, we can't transfer credit cards out of one system to another, so they're gonna have to re-enter their credit card information.
That was a clunky transition, to say the least, last time. And it wasn't that, it wasn't a year and a half ago, a year ago. So that's one thing, that I just wanna make sure is as effortless as possible. Yeah, that was my only two questions at the moment. just, Councilor Curry had to step away, so I'd just like to fill him in real quick, but obviously there's, when we discussed if there's a transition, obviously it's gonna be a lot required of the staff, but as you may recall, we just recently converted, we went to paperless billing. And so the constituents will have to set up a new account with new software. It sounds like it's as painless as possible, but it is a step.
Van Sayers messed it up.
Okay. Okay, yeah, let's continue.
If I may, just real quickly, I'd like to also mention that I made some inquiries into some names that were not on that list. And the reviews were glowing. As a matter of fact, one of them, that's what I was telling the village manager, is that while he was speaking with me, it was someone, I think it was Park Forest, the name of the city. I was doing a quick lookup to make sure he actually existed and was actually with government, didn't work for these guys, because he was going on and on about how well that transition went and that they wish they had done it sooner and they hoped that we would do the same.
And he's in New Jersey, right?
So, you know, those East Coast people, they don't mess around. He's from New Jersey, so.
We were just, was there anything else you wanted to?
No, I just, there's gonna be not only to the staff, but to the
Oh.
public as well.
Customer facing.
And again, it was a short time ago that we made that transition. It was not
Easy
it
one.
was a clunky, is what I'd say, being kind. But they assured us it would be,
Less clunky.
less clunky. To be technical. Okay, please continue. please continue.
I cannot remember. I know that when you and I were talking about these slide decks, I was giving you feedback, but nothing. I think you're good.
Please. Real quick, how did you come to those numbers, the 168, and then it jumps to 221 year 2 and 225 year 3? Just curious how you came to those numbers.
Yeah, and actually I'd like to add, I can double check the numbers, but I wanna say we're actually at closer to 30K this year for training in Tyler. So she's actually understating it by 10K on the training fees.
Okay. Thank you. Okay. No, thanks. Nope.
Yeah, so, but just to, and again, I know you guys don't mess around inside of an ERP, but, if you go behind the counter and look, that's what my team sits in all day long. And so in order to do their jobs, this tool is pivotal. And so, it's an understatement to say that, having a system that works well saves a lot of money. Just because we do spend a lot of time, inside of chat modules and also with just the phone sitting there on speaker, on hold, waiting, to get someone from Tyler so that we can move forward. So it's very frustrating and it does get expensive.
So, Mr. Mayor, no pressure here, but as counselors, most of us depend on the experts. And I've been here for all of these transitions, and every time we get a new one, we're told about how great it's gonna be for us. And then down the road a ways, we're told there's another one that's gonna be better because that one's so bad. So, if we decide to go with this, I hope we finally reach the point here where a year or two from now, we're not told the same story. But no pressure, Adrian.
Yes, sir. And just to add to that, Mr. Mayor Council, even right now, we're fragmented. For Encode, we use Encode 10 and Encode 9. And they may have the same name, but they're not the same thing. So in order to handle special assessment, we have to log out and go into a completely different system in order to handle that because they're not integrated together. where this would be the first time where we would be moving over to an ERP that, like she's saying, it's the one model that kind of rules them all. And so as they modernize and continue to do their updates, it's not like our situation right now where you're eventually gonna have like an Encode 11, you know, and we're on 10 and 9. So as they move forward, we move forward with them. Bill, can I interrupt for a second? Yes. So what he was just showing you there, we actually pay for another piece of software here in the village that does that. It's Trainual. And so Trainual wouldn't be going away because it's something that's supposed to be municipal wide. And so it's gonna capture memos, policies, and processes all inside of it. So this is designed to get rid of all that. But what it would do is everything that's inside of Trainual, we actually have to build it ourselves. And so Chris puts several hours each day towards doing that, where he's actually building in the how-tos on how to do everything inside of finance. So he's sitting with people to create all that, to put into Trainual, so that we've got a way to go reference and then look inside of Trainual, then flip over to Encode to figure out how to, put things in. And so, I'm not saying Trainual would go away, so we didn't fold that cost into this, but it's gonna significantly reduce the amount of hours that we're continuing to pour into building those trainings, because they already have it inside their system. Thanks, Bill.
very good. So I don't know if we need to do that. One thing I'm a little more curious about though is how we can expand this into other departments. I saw in the opening, how the hub and spoke, like you said, there's a lot of other applications that we can use this software for in the future. Well, I want, if I, yeah, get a glance at that again, but there's a lot of it, I mean, you mentioned kind of like with the new fire station, I mean, that's capital budget and project management. We have a lot of big, for us, a lot of big projects going, workforce housing, new fire station. We're gonna be starting some work with our Parks and Rec department on some projects, so, I mean, I think it'd be fun to be able for the, especially, I'm looking at it myself, I'm not gonna be in the weeds back there with Adrian, but as a member of the Village of Angel Fire, you know, what will I get to see even after, I leave office? Keep up with these projects, and then I'm also interested in permitting, licensing, grants, and all of it, quite frankly, and what it would take in the future, to expand those services. It looks to me like the majority of our departments could fall under this software. Brad, if I'm.
So, Mr. Mayor, I'd like to just add I did speak with Deputy Director of another city who had, and they have gone further around the wheel than we have. This strategy is basically, I can't remember exactly how village managers put it, something about getting kicked in the face. The way we look at it is just, like, this is the way to eat the elephant strategy. I mean, we're just gonna, and it also, so, it's a manageable piece over the course of the first year when we transition, and it also is a way to give you a clear picture of the cost savings versus what we're doing now. So this is an apples to apples. is where we're starting, so that we can see the value in it, and then over time, we can start to add them as we got capacity.
I just want to see the potential, the future potential.
Yes, sir.
Manager?
Yeah, I mean, I just wanna say, they have some workflow features that, like around HR and stuff, that we would have to build out, in order for us to try and utilize that in a way, that we're hoping to, be totally automated and have everything in paperless workflow. The one thing that they are kind of missing, and I've already told them, and I had a meeting with their CEO and we discussed, is a true document management system. So we wanna get rid of paper files to the extent we legally can, move everything into the cloud. And they have the ability to store documents like Encode does as well within the application that are application specific, right? But it's not a true document management system. You can go in, you can find any document regardless of which application it applies to, and you can do all kinds of keyword searching and indexing, and there's all types of things like that to manage physical documents. So to me, that's the one piece they're missing, but to be fair, I haven't found an ERP system that has that. So, I don't, I'd like to see them develop it. It'd be a no-brainer if they had that. I wouldn't even, this would literally be a no-brainer. But without that, we need to consider. So, there's a lot of features in here we will use eventually as long as this core works out. The difference is, like, we have a project management tool in Encode that we've paid for since 2021 and never used, never implemented, because, well, part of it is, we tried to implement it ourselves and couldn't do so. It was too big of a challenge for our staff. And the cost to pay Encode to implement it wasn't worth it, because we were hoping to be able to do it ourselves, but it was a little more complicated than our staff could handle, and then when you looked at the cost, it's just like, I don't wanna implement that for that fee. I was struggling with the cost benefit analysis, but the fee structure for implementation like that with OpenGov is significantly less than the fee structure with Encode.
Okay. Anybody have anything else to add? Any other questions? All right, well, I just want to thank you all for joining us today. Been very informative, and we'll certainly take it into consideration.
Thank you.
Thanks again. This meeting is,
Before you close, Mr. Ray, I'm sorry. Now that they're off, do we wanna have any conversations without them about this?
it seems like they're paying Adrian handsomely to promote it.
I don't make a dime.
That's a joke. I think that was the biggest testament, when Adrian's having to make sure that, I don't know if you heard that, he's talking to officials in other communities that are using the software. They're speaking so highly of it that he's having to make sure that they don't work for the company.
Did you talk to Taos?
No, I didn't wanna talk to anyone that they offered up. You know, so I specifically went and chose customers that they didn't offer up, just to make sure that there wasn't some reason why.
I mean, a lot of their stuff on there was sales things, the soft cost savings that was a pretty big number, but do you think it's an accurate soft cost saving?
It could actually be higher, because we really do struggle, with Encode, and we spend a lot, and that cost has been escalating. So when I go back and I look at what we're spending on training, well, we're calling it training, I'm using that word because that's what they call it. But really, what it is, it's access to a human being over there. So in order to get someone to do something for you over there, you have to pay for this training so that they will block off time for you, and then you can get things done. They've got a chat module that you can use, and they've got a phone number that you can use, and we've got, well, to just be as polite as possible, just mixed reviews on how that's been going.
Okay. Well, if it's accurate, then it seems like a no-brainer.
Alright,
So I guess I would like to hear the Taos County assessment, but I might also take it with a grain of salt.
Yes, sir. If it pleases council, I can go do a little bit more research and get some feedback.
All right.
alright. With that, this meeting is adjourned.